Okay, so welcome to this second in a series of 6 Thriving Student Services in the Virtual World, the Zoom meetings that we put together at the request of the presidents for everybody who works in student affairs, student services. And we're especially grateful to Maria Marte and the team at Passaic County Community College for agreeing to share a little bit about the work they're doing in virtual student orientations. Time permitting, we can do a round robin and hear from all of you the kind of work you're doing in virtual student orientation. And we, of course, can ask any questions that may need to be asked. Yeah. And also have the opportunity to, if there are areas of identification where the council can be of some help to all of you, or the Center for Student Success could be of some help to all of you, then of course I definitely need to hear that, and then we can take that back. So just a little bit of housekeeping before I turn it over to Maria. So if you're able to, mute your line if you're not speaking at the time, just so that we're not talking over one another, we don't get any feedback or echoing or any of that. So that's part one. Part two, if you're just joining us, if you can enter your name, college, and email address in the chat so we can get you the recording when this is available, that's great. And then part three, these take place every Thursday, 3 o'clock for the remainder of July. I believe next week we're going to be talking about, I don't remember what we're talking about. I don't have it in front of me, but I think RCBC is going to be taking the lead in sharing it in that. So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself. You'll stop hearing from me for a while. I'm going to turn it over to Maria Marte from Passaic County Community College, and just thank you all for being on and for what you're doing for all the students. And we hope you find this discussion helpful. Maria, it's all yours.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So I work at Passaic County Community College as their Director of Student Activities. College that I fulfill is as the college-wide coordinator of new student orientation. And Saray Calderon is also here with me, so I want to let her just introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Saray Calderon. I am the orientation coordinator out of the Office of Student Activities at Passaic County Community College. So I work closely with Maria.
Yeah, so Saray works in our office part-time in terms of how many hours she's supposed to work, but she really does a lot more than what a part-time person does, and we really appreciate her work. So I'm gonna spend a few minutes giving you a little bit of background, letting you know how we've done orientation. So maybe 4 years ago, we started to revamp the way that we do new student orientation on campus. We were part of an onboarding committee on campus through Guided Pathways, and as a result, we formed a separate committee that focused on new student orientation. And what we settled on was having a 3-component new student orientation program, right? That included an online version, that included an in-person, inviting students to come on campus in person, and then there was an extended component of it that we did throughout the first semester of the students on campus. So we did that. All the planning took place last year. For the first time, we were able to implement all 3 components, right? So the online, we use Advantage Design, and we're going to show you a little bit of what we're doing with that. And then in person, we had students come in. Same way that you would do it regularly, where they come in, we did campus tours, we played a game with them. So instead of doing a workshop where we sit in front of them, we have this thing at PTC that we like to make things a little bit more interactive. So our PTK students had played this game, Collegeopoly. So we took their Collegeopoly and we turned it into a student success workshop. So students came in and they played this game, but really within the game, there were all these tools to help them be successful on campus. They got their student IDs, they got their parking pass. So they did all of that when they came on campus, and they met with people when they were on campus. And then the third component, the extended component, was a series of workshops that centered around having socials for them during Welcome Week that were very specific to new students. So last year, again, we have this thing with games. We like to play games. Last year, we played College Feud. So we had faculty and staff be part of forming a team. So they formed a team, and then and we had our new students who formed these teams. And we broadcasted it to all the sites, all of our campuses. So some campuses, they were just sort of like watching, like they were watching the TV show, but it was real, right? It was like this real competition. And the questions were all about PCC and all about what students were experiencing at PCC. And we really went out and did the survey, right? So we asked 100 students, what would you have in your backpack? What excuses would you make to not show up for a test? Like things that were fun, but also, you know, we always want to include educational stuff in there. So that's what the extended one was, right? And then throughout the semester, the goal was to educate them and to keep them engaged so they could register for classes. So that was last year. We were planning on doing something very similar this year, right? Because last year was successful. And then, you know, COVID came and came to visit us, and we had to change some plans, right? So what we've been doing is one component that we had added that we were going to implement for this upcoming year was we created this 5-step booklet that we, once a student registered for classes, they get this booklet. And the booklet had these 5 steps. Step number 1, log on to the portal, and we have some visuals that we can show you once we share our screen. Step number 1, log on to your portal, and these are the steps that you can use to log on to the portal. Step number 2, complete the online orientation, and these are the steps that you can do to complete the online orientation. Step number 3, pay your bill. Step number 4, RSVP to, I think Saray's going to show us what. So this is what they would get, something that looked like this, and it was 5 steps, and they just had to follow those 5 steps. And step number 5 actually invited them to to come see us on campus in person, right? Sorry, could you just stop sharing for a little bit so that we can, so that was the goal, right? So this booklet, actually, we are working on turning it into a virtual booklet, right? So that we can send it to new students. So that's not quite there yet because we've been focusing our energies on our online orientation. So we revamped, we had a good product, but what we've done is we revamped all of our videos. We revamped how easy it is to navigate it. Our IT department has taken the online orientation that we have and they've embedded it into the portal. So when a student logs into the portal, it's one of the tabs inside the portal. And the process that we have now is that our new students are contacted right after they register for classes. And the first step is for them to log into the portal and go into this online orientation and complete it. So we've been looking for ways to engage with new students who are registered for classes. Obviously, enrollment is low right now for most of us. Like Jake and I were just discussing before, we're hoping that it's going to pick up, and when it picks up, we're ready for it because we're using the online modules, and we're going to show you some videos that we've shot that we've been using and sending to new students. What I'll say about the 2 videos that we're going to show you is one of them, because after the new students went through the orientation process, we still stayed in touch with them and stayed engaged with them. So in the spring, our focus was to support the students who had been new in January. So we did that. We use Teams. We use Microsoft Teams. So they go into the different teams, and we have orientation leaders who are in charge of each of the teams. So they continue to talk to them through there. We continue to have phone conversations with them and engage with them in that way. Which became a little bit more complicated, right? Because when we're on campus, they just stop in. We're not on campus, we just have a list and we're reaching out to all of them, trying to keep engaged with them. So one of the things that we did was this video. We're gonna show you a video that we did so that you can see how we reached out to them and sent it out to all students. Really, then afterwards, we ended up sending it out to all students because the new students really started responding and started to call us when we sent them this video. So let's have, Saray, if you could just show the video.
Which one do you want first?
The
registration?
The registration video.
Okay.
My name is Saidika, and I'm registering for the fall now because despite adversity, I will graduate on time.
Hi guys, I'm Demi, and this is why I'm registering for classes. So as a computer science major, it's very important to me to graduate and to get on my field as soon as possible. But I know that things are very uncertain right now, and it's scary. So I just want to make sure that when things get better, I have a seat in the class that I need, so my education is not compromised.
Hello, PCC Panthers. My name is Andrea Gusquiza, and I am an orientation leader and an early childhood education major. And even though we are going through some rough and confusing times right now, I'm still registering for classes because I want to stay on track to make it to my graduation day.
Hello, PCC Panthers. My name is Michael Perez. I'm one of your orientation leaders from the Office of Student Activities and a senator of the Student Government Association. After greeting you and wishing you health and peace, I want to share my top reason why I register for classes. I register for classes because no course registration means no academic progress and thus no graduation goals. Before concluding this video, I'll ask you to be safe and answer to yourself, what is your top reason? Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Dalmar Ortega and I'm a computer science major as well as an orientation leader here at PCCC. Even with everything going on in the world, I have to keep sight of my goal, which is graduation. The only way we can do that is by registering for classes and getting through them. I would suggest you all do the same.
And so our secret weapon to connect with students has been our orientation leaders. And we have been working on building a program, right? Building an orientation leader program where the 5 students that you see on there are students that we hired last fall. And we have been training them so that we could, because they are students who are going to be here for another year. So our goal was to train them and to keep them, and then to recruit new students to be volunteers for the summer. And we had it all set up during spring break, COVID. During spring break, we were gonna recruit volunteers. Because what we've learned over the time that we've been working with students is that if we need 15 students to volunteer for something, we recruit 30, and we'll end up with our 15. So our goal was to recruit 30 student volunteers that were going to be our welcome ambassadors, who were going to work with us in the summer, and they were going to be volunteers. But keeping this core group who works in the office, and they work 20 hours a week, and we pay them. So instead of working outside of the college, they work with us on campus. But our student orientation leaders are really our secret weapon to connect with students, right? We have all of the data, all the benchmarking, the CAS standards, all of the professional information that we need to be able to present on an orientation program, but really what students see and what they want to connect to is other students. And we learned that early on, right? So because we learned that early on, we've been utilizing our orientation leaders to do this kind of stuff, especially now. And we've been sending videos. There's this video. We've been sending like short clips of like, hey, you know, how are you doing? What are you doing? We've been using Zoom to connect with students as well. And it's just been this trial and error of different ways to connect with new students. To connect with students in general, but to connect with new students specifically, we've been really utilizing these 5 students who still work in our office now. So I'll let Saray talk a little bit about the online orientation and the process of updating the modules. Because we had modules that when we first purchased the online orientation, I want to say it was like 4 years ago. And the original online orientation was like 3 hours long. It was very, very, very long. Because we literally, you know, the first go round, it was like taking all the information that we had for in-person orientation and sort of like just dropping it in there, right? So it was boring, it was long, and students, when we did focus groups, even the focus groups were like, oh no, we don't want to do this, right? So what we've done is we've revamped it, and you could do the online orientation in half an hour. And it helps that we already have the system. So we recorded new videos. We have cartoons in there. We have many, many different delivery methods, right? And part of it too was we have these students who work with us who are we have creativity. I will admit I'm a very creative person, but they are the consumer. So once we have an idea and we start to formulate the idea, we present it to them and they yay it or nay it sometimes. And it's really helpful to have those students. So I'll let you, Saray, talk a little bit about the process and show you what our shell looks like for the online orientation.
So yes, like Maria was saying, I actually was a student at PCC, and I remember the orientation being so long. So in 2017 to 18, we remodeled the whole orientation with new videos, more information on extending where students can go. And this past year, we've been doing more updates on that. Our videos now, since COVID, has been great for students to meet like their academic advisors that we have, our student leaders. And the videos are made for the students to understand that we're all going through it together. This is who this person is, what are the resources, who they can contact. So it helps more with the students to be familiar with the faces too. So when we do go back to campus, they're like, oh, you know, that's my advisor. I remember seeing them in orientation, or this is where I go for financial aid, so stuff like that. And we have also added links where if they need more information and stay updated, they can directly go through that link on that module. And when they're done with their orientation, they can always go back to any of the information that they like. And what's a good thing about it too, that if they pause orientation, they can also just go back to it where they left off instead of starting all over. And then some students won't even complete it if they have that option. Also with the orientation, like we have introduced Microsoft Teams to our new students. And our orientation leaders noticed that it's a good outlet for our students, especially now. So we introduced that too in our orientation, how they can sign up for that and they can figure out who's their orientation leader, because we like to group them so it's more personal for them too. So they see them on campus, oh, I remember you, you're Dalvin, you're my orientation leader, and we've talked throughout the entire semester or even summer. So it feels like they're on campus, but not at the same time. And that's what we've been doing with the videos and the orientation. We keep it updated. I'm in there every day, new information comes up, we're owing in it and letting students know too, hey, there's an update, you can go check it out too. Because even with students who were registered in the spring, we have new information on there that they can take from and keep on going for the next semester, because everything does get changed and updated every semester for everyone. I'm gonna show you our shell.
And while she's putting that up, the benefit of having an online system for us is that one, students can always go back to it. And what we learned over the years is that instead of putting all of the information in here, we do links as well that link them out into information that we don't have to update all the time. So we are very careful with that because we don't want them to get out too much, but we do want them to complete it because we do use this for assessment purposes. The number of students who complete it, and then the fall retention is what the next step of assessment that we're going to be looking at. But you know, it keeps the information more up to date. We also settled on having only these slides, these areas, right, for them to click into. Because if we have too many, well, we realized we had too many, and students were getting lost in there, and it was just too much information. We do want them to know a lot of stuff, but when you give them too much information, and not just them, us too, you know, if you put me in a place and you give me so much information, just like today, we had so much information we wanted to share with you. But you know, when you do too much, then people sort of like tune out, and then you miss the major points that you're trying to hit. So we settled on these 5 areas, right? So in the welcome tab, we have a welcome video from our president. We have a welcome video from the president of the Student Government Association. and a welcome video from the Dean of Students. All of our videos and all of the information on there has been tested, so it meets ADA compliance, so it's easier for students to follow along. And support services as well, we introduce them to the advisors, we introduce them to the financial aid office, and we do step-by-step, sort of like tutorials is what we have, right? And then as you go through, as students go through the online orientation, we have a glossary that there are certain words that are academic words that we only use in higher education. So when they hover over the word, it'll define the word for them right there and then, but then also they can save that word to go back to it at a different time. So this tool has been really, really useful and really helpful to have, especially during this time. This is the tool that we're using. We were already using it, but I know that there are other tools that could be used. Like if you have Blackboard, or if you wanted to build an in-house type of tool, we find that it's very helpful for students to have everything in one place, right? So the fact that this is also embedded in the portal, thanks to our IT department, has also been very helpful. And with orientation in general at the college, I'm sure at your college it's the same thing. Orientation in general is a team effort, and it's an effort that requires everybody on campus to participate. So it's one of those things where we coordinate the effort, but everyone on campus is on board and has to be on board, right? So we have a committee that meets. Right now we're meeting weekly because we continuously try to figure out what we're going to do next. But a committee that includes the different sites, right? So the directors from different sites. It includes our office, it includes financial aid, it just includes all the key players who are going to help with the onboarding process for new students. Because the onboarding process for new students is really, really, really important. And it's really, really important that it's clear and that it's easy, and that we have these steps that are going to require for students to not have to do too much or feel like they're doing too much, right? Like we want to introduce them to the academic culture, to the campus, and we want to introduce them to what it's like to be a college student, but we don't want to overwhelm them. And that has been our consistent. When we're testing things out, we always ask, would I be overwhelmed by this? And then if we would be or we have this thing where I'm like, oh, that hurts my eyes. And if it hurts my eyes, it's going to hit somebody's eyes, right? So even with the messaging and any flyers that we do, any letters, any emails that we send out, we try to just make it very simple, make the language very clear, and make it so that they know, okay, we go here. And then also everywhere, if you get confused, this is who you can call. And usually we ask them to just call us, and then we redirect them to different areas, right? And then creating an email address that was very simple, orientation@pcc.edu. That's all you have to remember, right? And if you remember that email, then you can get in touch with any of us, and we'll get you in touch with financial aid or with any other department that you can get in touch with. So make it very easy. Some people would call that, hand holding, but we don't see it that way. We see it as you're brand new to a space. You don't know the culture of that space. Maybe you're a first generation. Maybe you've never been to college. Your family has never been to college before. Maybe you need that support in the beginning so that you can be successful at the college. Because that's what the goal is for you to be successful at the college. We have another video that we wanted to show you. That we've been using now after COVID. Well, the other videos after as well that we've been using now to introduce them to, because like I said, our orientation leaders are really our secret weapon. And we've been working really hard to build an orientation team that includes these students who are highly trained. It's really important that the students are highly trained, that they are not misinforming the new students, that they are open to asking questions, that they are open to saying, well, I don't know about that, and find somebody, especially now, right? We haven't seen our students in person in 3 months, our orientation leaders. We have weekly meetings with them. Saray has continuous one-on-ones with them, but in person we haven't seen them that long. So communication has become really, it was important before, and it's extremely important now. And we've been bringing people in to train them as well. So the advising team coming in to show them different things, and we continuously train them because students want to hear from students. So we'll show you another video that we sent. Videos have become, I had no idea that I could be a video director, and I've suddenly become a video director in the last couple of months.
Hi, my name is Saidika Jones, and I'm an orientation leader at Passaic County Community College. And today I wanted to come to you to share why I feel it's important for new students to connect with the orientation team. In my opinion, one of the most important factors in the orientation leader and student connection is shared experience. Just like you guys, we were new students at one point, so we know how hard it can be to acclimate to the college. From registering for the first time, to scheduling, taking, and passing the CWE, we've done it all, and now we want to help you.
Hello guys, my name is Michael Perez. I'm one of the orientation leaders, and one reason you should connect with the orientation team is because we keep you informed about scholarship and internship opportunities available to all PCC students.
Hi, I'm Demi, and just like you, I was a new student. I struggled finding professors and departments, and a lot of times I was late submitting documents. So this is why today I want to encourage you to come meet with me, because I can let you know about all the resources that PCC has to offer and how you can benefit from them. Thank you and have a nice day.
Hello, PCC Panthers. My name is Andrea Agustiza, and I am an orientation leader and a early childhood education major. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about the importance of making connections with your orientation leaders. When I first started off at PCCC, I was that person that was just going to school to graduate and get my degree, and that was it. I wasn't really interested in joining any clubs or doing any activities. And then I became an orientation leader, and it really changed my life because it helped me build a sense of community. And we as students want to be there to support you guys and to help you through this college experience that we know isn't always easy.
Hello, PCC Panthers, I'm Dalvin Ortega. As orientation leaders, we're close to many parts of the PCC community, so we have a wealth of information to pass on. We keep our eyes and ears open for any resource that you need.
And so with that video, what we've done is we've taken those smaller pieces and they can use the smaller pieces to introduce themselves to their, the individual pieces to introduce themselves to their students. So right now, as the summer progresses, what we have planned is we have the orientation leaders, along with Saray, along with other part-time people in our office, have been connecting with the students who are already registered for classes. And they've been getting them online to do online modules, to complete those modules, to get into the portal. You know, we get emails every day about either technology that they don't know how to work through, or they have a bill, or some people are just like, check, check, check. We checked everything off and we're good to go. We have a checklist that they are given after they register for classes. And some people don't really need the help. The majority of our students are utilizing our services to get into the portal, to pay their bill. Some of them are skeptical, right? Like, maybe I don't want to take all these classes, and having that conversation with, maybe I don't want to take all these classes virtually. I don't know what's going to happen in the fall, and I gotta wait. But in having those conversations with their classmates or their peers, my classmates, having these conversations with their peers really helps send the message that I'm going to go through it and you can do it too, because we're going to do it together. I know it sounds like Pollyannish, but it's really been helping to connect with them in that way. So right now, that's what we're doing. And then in August, we're having 2 Zoom virtual orientations where we're going to invite, and we've already been doing that, we're inviting the new students to participate. And the focus of those 2 Zoom workshops are going to be on how to be a successful student on campus. And the workshops are being put together like I said, everything that we do is a team effort. It's a collaboration with other departments on campus. So that's going to be the advising team, right? The advising team across the campus is putting together. We have a virtual on the cloud. We have a presentation that we're working on, and then we're also going to have the orientation leaders do that as well. We've been looking for potentially bringing in a speaker, but I think most importantly, our students want to hear from us. Although sometimes we feel like they don't, but at this moment, in this time, what we are finding is that our students want to hear from us. They want to hear that we are going to support them when they decide to come to our campus. There's a chance that they always wanted to hear that, but I find that now even more, they want to hear that if I call your office, someone's going to pick up even though you're not on campus. So there was skepticism for a little bit, and then now they're calling and they're like, oh wait, you picked up the phone. It's like, I told you the phone was forwarded and we were gonna pick it up. We're here. So more than before, I find that students really want to connect with us. So that's why we're thinking the advising team is gonna be the ones to just do this presentation, and we're gonna invite them to their, do some breakout rooms so that they can connect with each other and with the orientation leaders as well. We're doing that now. On a different note, we're doing that with our new Student Government Association. And although we've never met them in person, it's really working when we break them up into these smaller groups and they can connect in that way. So we're going to try some of that with our new students as well on a larger scale. Saray, did I miss? We have so much to share with you. We just didn't want to overwhelm everyone. Did I miss anything important that we had talked about that we wanted to share?
No, you hit it on every single topic I have in my notes. And
Okay.
yeah.
And then if you have questions, we can answer your questions. We do collect data, we do all that stuff. We have assessment, but we wanted to talk to you about like the practices and show you some of the things that we've been doing. Because we know everybody collects data and has the assessment.
So if you have any questions, folks, feel free to, you can either type them in the chat. Oh, here's one. Would it be possible to send a copy of the checklist used after students register? Maybe you want to copy the recording as emailed to participants. So Maria, if you and Saray are able to share some documents with us, we'll send that out to everybody. And we'll make, if you folks are okay with it, we can put PDFs up on the website with the recording as well.
Yeah,
on the Student Success Center website.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Where we house all these webinars. So that's great. So as we're awaiting other questions, I'll take the liberty just ask a question. So what, I know you keep data and metrics and everything, and I won't dive into it like a toss up data question, but I will ask this. So what does the follow-up process, I say follow-up, I don't know if the right word is follow-up or outreach, but what does the process look like for those students who, because if they're logging into the LMS to get access to the orientation, what's the process for those students who aren't doing it? Like what's the follow-up and outreach for those students who aren't doing it? How aggressive is that? What's it look like? And what's like a preliminary ballpark success rate you have? Like if you have, 100 students and then you do a follow-up that ends up 50% do it or 75. Well, tell us a little bit about that.
So the process that we've been following for 2 years now is the original, so we get the list of students who are registered for classes. We have these emails that, again, like we've been revamping and making it a little bit better to invite them to complete the online orientation. And then there's also a follow-up phone call. So we do the phone call and the email in the beginning. And then when we run our list and we see that there are people who haven't completed it, we reach out to them. So in fall 18, we were, the overall, these numbers are not that great, but we're making progress. In fall 18, we had about 20% of the incoming class completed the online orientation and came on campus to see us. And then last fall, we were at 40%. So we doubled in a year, right? So the follow-up is that. The follow-up is we contact you in the beginning, we check to see if you did it, and then we follow up with you afterwards to make sure that you did it. And more, as we're getting more of the campus community involved, I think the numbers are going to be a lot higher now, and that's just ballpark. because everyone is involved in saying, did you complete the online orientation? All those questions that you're asking are actually in there. So last fall, the numbers doubled. This fall, I'm hoping that the numbers will go up even more. Yeah.
Maria, thank you. Folks, any other questions, comments, or key takeaways for Maria or Soraya or for anyone on the line from Passaic as part of the Passaic team? And if not, would anyone like to talk a little bit about some of the things they have in play at their institution for virtual student orientation that could add to this conversation and can continue to give some additional ideas to all of us as we continue to implement this going forward in this remote/online environment?
So there was a
Go ahead, Maria.
how do we engage with the campus partners? So we have a standing committee. Currently, the weekly or bi-weekly, it depends on how the schedule plays out. The weekly or bi-weekly include myself, a representative from each of our sites. And then we will invite other people to come in. So we invite advisement when we find that we have things that we want to talk to them about. So it's been engaging them in that way by bringing them into our meetings. When we were on campus, we did it that way as well, and now we're doing it here. So we've been doing that for about 2 years now, and that's really helped in terms of making it a college-wide, because orientation is not a department. Orientation is a college-wide effort, because it's an effort to say to these new people, hey, this is our community, and you're a part of it as well, and you're welcome, right? So for this upcoming year, we had a bunch of ideas about like these different receptions and different things for the different academic departments, so that we could really play it up in the fall during Welcome Week. But we'll do that next year.
Any other questions or anything anyone would like to share on some of the work you're doing for student orientation? I have one thing I'll pose to the group, and Jeremy, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think I will. We're friends, and Jeremy's done some great work at Warren in this whole space, and I know you're all thinking about it. You know, with the COVID-19 place where we are, and the quote unquote reopening restart, and the plans that we all had to write or are writing to submit to OSHI. Jeremy was kind enough, Jeremy and President Austin, and thank you both again. I'll thank you all the time. They were the first to share their plan with all of us, with the college presidents and a lot of the affinity group members. And one of the things Jeremy put into play was the required, according to OSHI, Office of Secretary of Higher Education, required, for lack of a better term, I'll call it student orientation, college success. There's a component that students have to recognize. These are the safety mandates that we've put into play. Do you understand that? And we expect you to follow these. Jeremy, could you talk a little bit about how you were able to do that in a virtual environment and how you and your team put that together? I think it'll be helpful for everybody on the line.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, no problem. So we have a couple of classes that are on campus this summer with the state waiver. So we have about 60 students who are actually coming to campus. So we had to kind of go quickly with them because they couldn't wait for our orientations that are later in the summer. But essentially what we did is we created an online module through our LMS where individuals can go in, review all of our safety documentation and procedures. And then at the end, as evidence that they've reviewed that, they have a quiz that they take where they answer some questions just to show that they've actually read through the documents. So, you know, just like all of you, we have probably the same procedures. Their temperature's taken at the door. They have to wear a mask when they come to the front entrance. They have to answer a questionnaire about whether they've had symptoms or visited states that are hotspots, all that kind of stuff. So they review the document that lists all those safety procedures that we have. And then they go through the quiz and it says, how many people are allowed in the elevator at a time? Because that's something that's changed with COVID. We're restricting it to one person at a time in the elevator. And then by doing the quiz, we have documentation that they have gone through that and reviewed that. So for those summer students, that was sort of an independent module that they did. For many of our fall students, that's going to be part of the new student orientation. We've had an online component for a long time that, for lack of a better explanation, was for the students who didn't show up and a supplement for those who did, but it was sort of all the PowerPoints and all of the information in a very boring way, like you said. That's something that we're trying to make more exciting and engaging for our students, and thank you for sharing some ideas on how to do that today. But I think that's a big important thing to consider, is that not only do they need to learn about the college, but they need to learn about how they're going to be safe at the college. Can I pick up a transcript in person, or how does that work? How's all those things changed? Because their brothers or sisters or friends may have told them one thing and it might be a different reality now. So that's been important for us.
Jeremy, thank you, and thanks for letting me put you on the spot. I also wanted to share with everybody while we're on the line, we did have a series of meetings last week. Jeremy participated, many of you on the line participated, talking about these reopen strategies. And I think there's one thing, there was a common theme in all of these meetings, and we got some pretty good advice from some of the folks at Raritan Valley Community College. And that common theme was, well, how are we going to enforce / police all of this, right? The folks at Middlesex are incorporating, they're working on incorporating the safety guidelines into the student handbook and making sure that the students have copies of that and acknowledge receipt of that and that they've read it. And also at Raritan Valley, similar to Warren, they've had a waiver for some in-person instruction in the summer. And what they found was that most people were compliant, wearing the masks coming into class. But then, being in a class 2-3 hours, the mask slips down off the face, this, that, and the other. And the advice that we got was, we weren't confrontational about it. The message was, hey, we kind of got to wear our masks or else we got to shut this whole operation down. It wasn't put your mask back on, what are you doing? It wasn't confrontational language, just, hey, we kind of got to do this. And from what we learned from the rep from Raritan Valley on these calls was that they had full compliance within 2 days. So I just wanted to share that with, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking along the same ways, positive reinforcement as opposed to calling people out. But I just thought that was important to share because that topic was so prominent on those calls we had last week, or Zoom meetings we had last week. So does anyone else have any other comments or questions or anything you'd like to share from your institution in the space of virtual student orientation, and anything similar or different you might be doing compared to what we've heard from Passaic, and then the COVID requirements and acknowledgement of that, like they're doing at Warren? Don't be shy. This is the student services group. Come on, folks.
Well, one thing that we just started this week was we have 4 different models of instruction that are going to happen in the fall. And so we're trying to explain to the students what each of those models means, how are they going to navigate them. Of course, they had scheduled their schedules before this was decided, so now some of their schedules have changed, how to read it on their schedule so they know what they're supposed to be doing. So we put together just a quick video, and then are also doing Zooms to try and start that process with at least the students that are already in summer. But it is definitely something that is extending, like they're trying to figure out how do we make sure they have this information without extending the amount of time we want them in our online NSO, because of the fact that we know we can't keep their attention the whole time. So we're trying to do kind of what you guys are doing with different mods that they have to go through. But it's tough because we're having a hard time explaining some of the instructional models or quite understanding. And of course, so for instance, one of them is, some students will be in class and some students will be at home, but it's up to each instructor who's coming to class, who's staying at home, whether they're going to switch, whether students can sign up on a list So trying to tell an incoming 18-year-old that's never been to college, that has parents that have never been to college, to not only read your syllabus, but then to understand what days you may need to be there and what days you won't, when we're not going to have access to it, is been difficult. But we're working with the instructional side, trying to at least explain what they are wanting it to mean.
Courtney, thank you. For the benefit for those of us on the line who may not know which school you're with, can you tell us which school you're with?
Yeah, well, actually, I just moved back to Missouri, but I've been in the mid-Atlantic most of my career, so that's how I knew you guys were having this and jumped on. So I'm actually with Metropolitan Community College in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Welcome from Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome.
Thanks.
I was rooting for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl because he used to be the coach of my Philadelphia Eagles. So there you go.
Yes. Well, and that's where we just came from.
All right, there you go. Beautiful place to be. Anybody else, anything you'd like to add?
Hey, this is Rebecca from Union. So I'll just talk about what we're doing. So similar to Passaic, we had these fantastic in-person orientation sessions that we used to run over. We started in May and we would run them all summer, and it was partially a registration, but then also get to know your advisor, get to know people on campus. It was a wonderful event. And we got a lot of students, like, I don't know, we would get 1,500 students that would go through new student orientation with us. But now, since we've been home, we've been sort of struggling with how to deliver this to students. And coupled with that is our enrollment was not looking great for the fall. So what we decided to do at Union was do a modified session for our students, and we offer 3 modified, we call them registration sessions, but they really are, students get to know the college, but we offer 3 of them a week. We do them through WebEx meetings where students log into the meeting. It's all a virtual orientation session. There's lots of people, there's advisors on the line, there's financial aid there. We talk to students, and in the end, we do different breakout rooms where students are meeting individually with an advisor and registering for classes. So it really has transitioned for us into something more of a registration event. We did also, at the same time, we were able to purchase Comevo, which is an online orientation platform. We just purchased it, I don't know, last week, I think. So our plan is to set it up and start delivering some of more of the fun stuff to students over the summer. But that's what we're doing at Union. So just wanted to share.
That's terrific. Thank you, Rebecca. So we have a question came in from Ashley at Middlesex. Ashley, thanks for your question. Here for Passaic, just out of curiosity, is this program extended to English as a second language students at Passaic? If so, what challenges have you experienced?
So currently our ELS department works with our ELS students. We're not there yet, but that's part of the plan, to be able to deliver this type of information in Spanish, and Spanish and Arabic are our top languages on campus. So to be able to deliver this type of information in that way. But currently our ELS works directly with new students who are coming in as ELS students.
Great, thank you. Folks, any other questions, comments, anything else to share before we call it a Zoom meeting?
I have a quick question. For anybody who's done any online orientations in the past, have you had any luck with incentives to try to get students to participate, to try to increase that participation rate? You know, we've toyed with in-person orientations with, you know, giveaways of worn t-shirts and hats and things like that, and even sometimes with gift cards for guests and stuff like that. Has anybody done anything, and has that been successful in increasing your participation?
So for us in person, and even when they would go to our extended orientational events, we have a t-shirt that we give to only new students. But because we're not in person, what we did find with the online orientation is that it wasn't so much to encourage our students to participate that was successful as it was to encourage our colleagues to encourage our students to participate. We found that to be more successful when we engage with our colleagues and when we try to encourage them to participate. They'll come to an event or something in person for a t-shirt, but they won't sit online. At least that was our experience. That it wasn't successful to try to do an event online and engaging our colleagues better. In shortening it, once we got it to like that half hour, our numbers really started to go up.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Sari, for presenting today and sharing the terrific work you're doing at Passaic County Community College. Thanks to all of you for taking some time from your busy schedule to join us today. We'll be doing this again next week at 3 o'clock. So we hope to see some or all of you then, or at one of our future get-togethers that we have. If you have any questions whatsoever, if there's anything we can do for you at the Council of County Colleges or the Center for Student Success, please feel free to reach out to me. My job is to make your job as easy as possible, and you all have very hard jobs. My job is to support all of you. So thank you all once again. Thanks again to Maria and Saray, and have a great rest of the week and a great weekend, everybody. Stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.